Think of something you once assembled yourself. A wardrobe, a desk, a shelf, anything. Picture it right now. Now answer one question honestly. Have you ever noticed that it seems better to you than it actually is? That when someone criticizes it, you feel a little unsettled? That you defend it the way you'd defend yourself? That's not a coincidence. And it's not just sentimental attachment to objects. It's one of the most powerful and least visible mechanisms in the human psyche. One that corporations learn to use against you long before you ever had a chance to notice it. And it has a name. Researchers from Harvard, Yale, and Duke University called it the IKEA Effect. But let's not start with IKEA. Let's start with an egg. The 1950s. The United States is riding a post-war boom. Industries are falling over themselves to release products designed to make life easier for the American housewife. General Mills, the company behind the Betty Crocker brand, launches a revolutionary product, cake mix in a box. Everything is already inside. Flour, sugar, powdered milk, dried eggs. Add water, stir, put it in the oven. It couldn't be simpler. This was supposed to be a triumph. It was supposed to fly off the shelves. The product didn't sell at all. The company was baffled. They brought in a psychologist, Ernest Dichter, the man who essentially invented the focus group as a tool. He conducted a series of interviews with housewives and discovered something unexpected. The women felt guilty, not because the product was bad, but because it was too easy. "It's not a real cake," they said. "I didn't do anything. It doesn't feel right." The solution was counterintuitive to the point of absurdity. Instead of making the product even simpler, they made it more complicated. The powdered eggs were removed from the formula. Now, the woman had to crack a real egg into the batter herself. One step, 20 seconds of effort. Sales soared, and from that moment on, for more than 70 years, nearly every baking mix has said, "Add one egg," not because it tastes better, but because it makes you feel like you made it. That's the first piece of evidence. But science didn't catch up to it until 2011. Michael Norton of Harvard Business School, Daniel Mochon of Yale, and Dan Ariely of Duke University ran a series of experiments whose results were published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology. They wanted to understand something straightforward. Do people genuinely value things they've made with their own hands more than identical things made by someone else? The first experiment involved IKEA boxes. One group of participants assembled a box themselves. Another group received an already assembled box, identical in quality. They were then asked how much they'd be willing to pay for their item. Those who had assembled it themselves were willing to pay 63% more for the exact same box, simply because they had spent time on it. But that was only the beginning. The second experiment, with origami, is where things got genuinely unsettling. Participants were asked to fold paper figures, cranes and frogs. They had no prior experience with origami. The results were, to put it generously, far from perfect. Crumpled corners, crooked lines, things that could objectively be described as wadded-up paper. The researchers then asked, "How much would you pay for your figure?" The average price the creators named was 23 cents. Those same figures were then shown to people who hadn't made them. Strangers. They valued them at 5 cents, 4.5 times less. The same crumpled paper, but one person saw nearly $0.25 in it, and another saw garbage. What struck the researchers most was this. When the creators were shown the work of true origami masters, professional, flawlessly folded figures, they valued them at roughly the same level as their own lopsided creations. They couldn't perceive the difference between their own work and that of an expert. Their brains flatly refused to acknowledge it. And they were absolutely certain that everyone around them saw in their work exactly what they saw themselves. This isn't pride. It isn't self-deception in the conventional sense. It's neuroscience. When you create something, your brain does something significant. It binds the object to you. Not metaphorically, literally. The same regions associated with identity and self-worth become active. The thing stops being just a thing. It becomes part of the story you tell yourself about who you are. You look at it, and you don't really see it. You see what it cost you. The time, the effort. The moment you finally figured out where that damn piece number 7 was supposed to go. Psychologists call this the effectance mechanism, from the Latin effectance. It's a fundamental human need. to see yourself as someone capable of shaping and changing the world around you. Robert White, a psychologist at Harvard, described this mechanism back in 1959. People are inherently motivated to interact with their environment effectively, not because it's useful, but because the feeling of competence itself is the reward. It's wired into us at a level that predates language, culture, and reason. When you build a wardrobe and it stands up straight, you haven't just built a wardrobe. You've confirmed to yourself that you are capable, that you made something, that you exist as more than just a consumer of other people's efforts. And the brain rewards you for it by making the result look better than it is, because otherwise, what was the point of trying? But the study revealed something else, something that changes the whole picture. The IKEA effect disappeared in one specific scenario. When participants were asked to assemble a figure and then destroy it, the perceived value immediately dropped to zero. Unfinished work produced no attachment either. Only completed things, only whole, finished things that made it all the way to the end, acquired that irrational worth. This means the effect isn't simply about time spent, it's about the feeling of completion. That moment when you step back and say to yourself, I did this. That moment, and only that moment, is what triggers the mechanism. And that is precisely the moment corporations have learned to sell you over and over again. Look at the world around you through a different lens. Lego sets for adults. Online sneaker customization where you pick the color of the laces and walk away feeling like you created something. Meal kit deliveries with pre-chopped ingredients where all you have to do is mix and cook. Building your own PC. Made-to-order suits where you design your jacket by choosing from 20 pre-selected buttons. Apps that invite you to personalize the interface, drag 3 icons, and afterward, you feel a loyalty toward them that wasn't there before. Video games where you spend hours building a character before the game even starts, and 20 minutes in, that cluster of pixels already feels like someone worth protecting. Everywhere, the same principle. You're given just enough involvement to feel like a creator. Just enough to trigger the effect. Which is exactly why ready-made furniture from that same store will never feel as valuable as the piece you spent 3 hours assembling, following wordless instructions illustrated only by diagrams. Companies aren't selling you things. They're selling you authorship. They're selling you the moment when you get to say, I made this. And you pay for it gladly, at 63% more than you ever should have. But here's what matters most, and it's the most uncomfortable part. The IKEA effect is not a weakness. It's not a bug in the code. It's what made us human for hundreds of thousands of years. Our ancestors didn't buy tools. They made them. Every knife, every bowl, every shelter was the product of their hands. Every object they owned was simultaneously proof that they could, that they managed, that they survived another day and left something behind. And the attachment they felt to what they made with their own hands wasn't an illusion. It was the truth. Because your thing really was better than nothing. Your effort really did matter. The problem came when this mechanism fell into the hands of people who realized you can sell someone the illusion of participation and receive in return real money and real loyalty. One egg in the batter, one hex key in the box, one click of customization on a website. And suddenly, you think it's yours, that you had a hand in it, that it's a little bit you. Look at that wardrobe one more time. It's yours, genuinely yours. You put time into it, patience, and almost certainly a few words you wouldn't say in polite company. No one can take away what you put into it. But the next time you're standing at the point of decision, ask yourself, am I paying for the thing, or am I paying to feel like the person who made it? Because those are very different things, and the difference between them is exactly 63%.